conversation we've heard today in our Energy Summit about the innovation and technology driving us towards a sustainable future. The next generation of power and fuels. Let's take a more geographical focus now. Africa, we know, is poised to lead the global south. With 30% of global mineral reserves, 40% of the world's renewable energy resources, and a young, energetic population lacking only some inward investment. Let's discuss Africa's climate-positive growth agenda with the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, together with CNN's Eleni Giokos. Your Excellency, lovely to see you. Please take a seat. A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. What a fantastic first day at the conference, and great to see you all. Great to have you with us. I'm sorry I'm turning my back to some of you. Your Excellency, President Ruto, fantastic to see you again. The last time we saw each other was in June in Nairobi, and we were talking about development and the need to focus on growth. But intertwined in that has always been the climate agenda. For those of you that don't know, Kenya's energy profile, your energy portfolio, is 90% from renewable energy, including geothermal. You're doing things that many African countries would wish to do, but it is important to note, and we need to hear the data. Africa is only receiving 2% of global investments for renewable energy projects, which is minuscule in terms of the energy needs. I want you to give me a breakdown in terms of why we have not seen money flowing into the continent and how you're hoping that's going to change going forward.
Thank you very much, Elena. And it's true. The last time we were in Nairobi, we were having a conversation that included how we see the new world and how Africa is going to be pivotal in how we take the next steps. And as you have said correctly, Africa has 30% of renewable, of our natural mineral resources, 40% of renewable energy. We have 60% of all arable uncultivated land, and we have the highest resources of carbon sinks. Now, we have challenges with investment. As you've said correctly, we got only $60 billion of investment in renewable energy out of a $3 trillion enterprise globally. And two things, maybe three, come into play. Number one is the erroneous assessment that Africa is risky. And our risk, the credit rating agencies have put Africa at a phenomenal level of risk, which is exaggerated. That's number one. Number two is that to be able to access capital for development with that assessment of risk means that if you go to the markets, you get 5 times, if you're lucky, 6 times, maybe 7 times.
But this is the thing, but this unbankable project, this whole thing of Africa not having bankable projects has been an age-old issue, and the fact that the perceptions of risk are still too high, but that doesn't coincide with the climate emergency that's playing out. There is a disconnect. The money needs to now flow in. The commitments that everyone's flowing around and saying, look, we're committing, is not becoming reality, but we're running out of time. So how do we convince the guys with the money to come to Africa and not be unreasonable about the returns that they're expecting?
It is the reason why, for example, we had the Africa Climate Summit, so that we can profile the assets that the continent has. Whether it is mineral assets, whether it's our renewable energy assets, whether it's our carbon sinks, whether it's our human capital. 40% of the world's workforce by 2100 will be living in Africa. 25% of the world population and market will be in Africa by 2050. And therefore, any development, any investment that doesn't bring Africa into the equation is deficient.
Yeah.
And therefore, the reason why we had the Africa Climate Summit, the first ever, is because we realized that we are in this space. Nobody knows what the assets are in Africa. We have all this negative profile. Africa is a risky continent. It's a continent of conflict. It's a continent of this. But we are re-engineering the profile of Africa so that people can see Africa for what it is, the continent of opportunity, where we have a young median age of 19, innovative, creative, hardworking, educated. In Kenya, for example, I spent $5 billion this year in the education of our young people, from primary school to university. We have tremendous resources in Africa. The world would do itself a favor by tapping into these assets and driving positive growth using the renewable energy assets that we have, using our own minerals that we have, and using our human capital that is ready, creative, and innovative.